estimated number of jobs for Liberians that this program is going to affect?
We're looking at 1,000 plus.
Okay.
When you're doing road construction, you're doing rail and rail, twin track, imagine from Yekepa all the way to the port of Buchanan. It's going to take few years, and those few years construction period, you will need welders, you will need professional electricians, you will need different skilled people. In fact, you will even need, it's going to provide incentive. When you're doing a road, Liberian own companies can provide first right for different things. The local content aspect of it. All we need to do is to ensure that these companies abide by
what is contained in the agreement.
What is contained in the agreement. And then they're also going to have to recondition the port of Buchanan.
Okay.
And it's going to also provide jobs. After these people finish doing their iron ore for years, they finish shipping the iron ore for years, the twin track, they're not going to rule it on carry back. It's going to remain there. It's going to be a national asset. That national asset is now going to be used for commercial and as well as private or public use. People, another means of transportation to move from Buchanan to Yekepa. From Yekepa, you can go into Guinea by twin track, and other things. So it comes with different added value and incentive for the country.
Before we leave while we await the president's on the sign, what's about the 37 million that was supposed to be paid? So once the president signs, then the money is sent to the consolidated fund?
No, let's be clear.
Okay.
On the previous government, and it's not a blame shifting, but it's for the record.
Okay.
On the previous government, there was some 37 million that was provided to the government of Liberia. On the previous government. They by HPX before it became IVAO, because I was in the legislature. And I didn't come to make myself appear like one Mr. Prophet, because I asked why are we taking HPX money
when we have not passed
or deal with them, we don't have a legal standing with them. Why are we taking the money? Now HPX has said, because they gave the government of Nigeria, the previous government continuity to understand that. If the deal had not been passed or ratified up in March 2026, this year, Liberia will have to refund the money.
Wow.
But that if the deal, we agree and make sense and we pass it, then Liberia doesn't have to refund that 37 million. Wow. So we are not running away from refund. So we didn't pass it because we don't want to refund. We pass it because we think
it's good for the country.
The deal is good for the country.
Okay. And then lastly, on the same part, there's a National Rail Authority. I mean,
yes.
has that been? I don't know. I'll be corrected by you. Were extracted, from the ad, or it's been perfected that once the ratification is done, that body is set up, and the president starts to appoint. I mean, is that how it works?
So there is an independent rail authority that is existing currently only by executive order.
Okay.
And executive order has the force of law
for 1 year.
But the lifespan is 1 year. Okay. It can be renewed. That is why the framework of the Constitution and in good democracy, so that the legislative proceedings can take some time, so they give the president constitutional leverage to issue executive order so that government can be running on certain things that were not contemplated by law. So that executive order has the force of law. The president has renewed it, I think extended by another 6 months to give the legislature and the government the time to properly enact the National Rail Commission so that we can have an independent rail commission that will now supervise how the usage of the rail by multiple companies, whether private or concession or government entity, you want to use the rail, you want to know what time, whose train was going to be on the rail, and at which time, so they can fix the schedule and everybody can use it accordingly.
His name is Senator Abraham Darius Dillon. He's our prime guest, and he's here straight up to 10:30 this morning. I want to follow up on, does this create discomfort with any concessionaires
So it seems like some concessionaires are very unhappy or are unpleased about this entire R&O deal. Can you spend some time on what disadvantage or disadvantages does it cause the current concessionaires? The case with area, for instance.
No, we appreciate ArcelorMittal and any other company investing in Liberia, providing jobs for our people and helping to run our economy. But no company is bigger than this country. No company should be bigger than this country. The interest of the country and the people must be our top priority. If you have a national asset like a train track or railroad, and one company is doing everything to frustrate more investment company because they want to own ownership or have exclusive access to the railroad, we as people, especially as a government, we can't say they allow that. So about the discomfort, ArcelorMittal is not in competition with HPX or Ivanhoe. ArcelorMittal has MDA with Liberia, Mineral Development Agreement, to find iron ore in the concession area and ship it and pay the royalty and conform to what the agreement says. HPX is taking iron ore from Guinea and only shipping it through our corridor to the port of Ghana. They are not in competition. No, even ArcelorMittal does not want another company to use the railroad. The ArcelorMittal business, we as a government, it is upon us to have the courage to say no. Our road, they are national assets. We determine, and everybody use it. Everybody use it. To avoid conflict, we will set up a body that will fix the schedule. Everybody bring a schedule. We say who will be on the road at a certain time. So discomfort, no discomfort. We've taken a decision in the best interest.
All right. So before you go to the next one, we'd like to recognize a few persons. You can drop your comments. As a reminder that we will read some of the comments. So you can drop your comments and we are going to certainly read them all out for you. Melvin the Shield is watching from Europe. Wiama Meno, says Kelvin. Okay, we read her message. Sorry, Roberta Richards, good morning. Peter Lane Peters is watching. Comfort Gayflow is also watching. P. Mitchell Moluba, Blama V. Kamara is following from Turkey. Hygiene Man is watching from Montserrat County. Excellency Tony Kama Davis, Alfred Dobo, and Moses Zawulu Numini is following from whom Dominic Trocon Jones writes. HPX was fully aware that it had no legal contract with the government of Liberia and it opted to give $37 million to the past government. On what legal grounds was this amount supposed to be a debt owed by the government of Liberia to HPX or Ivanhoe? Do you want to respond to that?
The government is continuing. The government of Liberia, on the former regime, took HPX $37 million. And it was endorsed by the legislature then.
Okay.
Now, I said earlier, I didn't come here to portray to be one perfect angel.
Yeah.
But I have a video insertion during the budget passage. I think it's fair for me to send it to her so I can play it all in 1 minute. I hope I can find it quickly while we're speaking.
Yeah.
That I warn that against taking money from a company when we have not had a legal agreement with them. But the fact that the government of Liberia through the executive put it in the budget and the legislature part there, it means the government to put money. The government is going to invest it. Now now we now, as the current government, could be or should be asking what did you do with the money? But toward HPX or Ivanhoe for money that the government of Liberia took, whether it is 1980 government or whether it is 2023 government, it is the government of Liberia that took the people money. So it is the government of Liberia that will have to be.
So maybe he can be reading comments while you
transition.
So that
Okay, that's with Dominic Trocon Jones, Nash Addison's Good Morning from Addison, rather. Good Morning, Prime FM. And radio I'm following from Central Monrovia. Honorable J. Rufus Paul is watching from the Ministry of Information. Eddie Collins, I'm watching from Norway. Morris C. Gable, I'm following from JNB and JKK Dreams for a Better Liberia Foundation and Rescue Room Edo Community. Nash Addison is watching. Amos Weir is watching from the city of River G, that's Fishtown in River G County. Jabatino Flexible is watching from Spain, Madrid. Amos Weir is watching from a fish city, River G, Charles B. Yates. I'm watching from Brownsville City. Thanks to Senator Dillon for the presentation. Fair enough. Alfred Afrido Africano Kia Ju. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, so he sent it to me. So you can take off the cable.
Okay, yes. This one, no. Right. So this is it. We're about to play Mohammed Dudu Kemokai Jr. So let's hear from Senator Dillon. This was when the date that you did.
It was in 2022.
Is it 2022? Okay.
Yeah, right.
It's starting over. Go ahead.
HDX, whatever it is going to be $50 million to the project. Maybe I forgot. Is there an existing agreement between the government of Liberia and this HDX regarding our and has that agreement been brought before this body for our legislative consideration? How are we including in our budget a source of revenue? Which source, has not been, because I've been dealing with the practice and the process. If the act is supposed to be a concession yet, and the concession there that is in the bundle of the requirement that's supposed to bring it before the legislature for ratification. Have we done so? So we're taking more money, but we have not done the legal thing to bring the agreement before the body for critique and ratification for rejection. How are we taking $10 and then legislature in Romani assistance? I need a very answer to those.
Okay. All right, so that's Senator Dillon right there. Keep posting your comments. We're going to read them all out for you on Prime FM Monrovia 105.5. Let me quickly recognize them. Senator, my apologies. Jala TV, The Closing Argument, Spotify, City TV, and of course, Senator Dillon's page. Yeah, go ahead.
And it was on that note, I voted no on the record against the fiscal budget in 2022. And that vote was not yea and nay. What? It was not yea and nay.
Explain that.
Meaning we voted on the record. They call your name,
and then you say yes or no.
You say yes or no, and it is recorded on the record. You know, since 2022, we got the Senate to do that huge reform so that people can be held accountable for their actions. Because when there's a yea and nay vote, everybody can have all a yea and nay. Anything,
if it was a yea,
if they end up buying the public, they don't vote for that thing. And you can hear some former lawmakers where there was no record keeping, they say, I don't vote for that thing, and I don't vote for it. This time, especially in the Senate, since 2022, we pushed that reform. So I'm saying, I didn't even think we were going to talk about this, but you know, most of the social clips, video clips, they're already on my phone. You understand? So I made a debate, I made the argument, I exposed it. Interestingly, the Senate was for so the majority voted for the budget. I voted no. Normally, Kanga Lawrence voted.
Yes, she's in the video.
Yeah, she voted no. Jonathan Subway of River G voted no.
Did Sir Joseph vote yes because
you call some of the people that voted yes since you're saying people who voted no?
So if you remember all the people that were in the Senate, one said this person voted no, that person voted no, and one point all the other
Okay, go ahead.
yeah, I voted no. Senator Nomi Kanga Lawrence voted no.
Okay.
Senator Borcha Sebo voted no. I think Commander Wilson, and I'm sure he abstained.
Okay.
And the rest voted yes. So it passed.
Wow.
The record is there so that I hear and then nobody can have
The late Senator Prince Johnson.
Senator Prince Johnson and I say everybody else voted.
Okay. Perfect.
Everybody was in the Senate at the time. You know, a lot of them were not part of Rescue Mission. So they were part of CDC, they were 14 years for it.
Let's go to the other part, the port autonomy. I mean, you're in the news for the wrong reason. You've been accused by your good friend, Henry Costa, of some, in his words, and I'll put it in quotation, some shitty quote unquote.
Yeah, Costa man, small brother.
Okay.
He can fall down there, he can fall down there. I'm a national leader. I will not respond to Costa. Okay. We pass a law, it's before the president. We believe that law is good. The president will use his wisdom to determine. Costa has accused everybody, including Kenny Walker, but I'm still the different person. That's your national issue.
What about, may that be a Costa reservation or a Costa accusation? This whole put
Autonomy,
autonomy conversation.
Yeah.
Tell us, you support.
Yes, I do.
And why do you support?
Because it is visionary for the country. So let me start with a very frivolous
part.
Yeah, part. Something that can be funny. The port law is about all the ports in Liberia.
Not just the MPA.
All the ports in Liberia and future ports.
Okay.
Because as we speak, B. Martin is building a port in Kidman.
Okay.
So the port law is about the current ports and future ports, including inland ports, meaning where there's no sea.
Okay.
A visionary. But you see, everybody say the port law, they only tie to Buchanan, and make it look like the law is for Buchanan, and then because nobody can allow a senator, so she grabbed the two houses of the legislature, made them to vote for the law, so that I can join Buchanan, then we'll sell the port in Buchanan. Then I will come out of Montreal, I carry some visit the port of Montreal, and then we'll sell the port of Montreal. Then James Barney and Bravo Brown will sell the port of Harbour. Then Quaker Donkey and Gosling Chair will sell the port of Salo. If it is that kind of elementary propaganda, as a national leader, I will never, how can we join that kind of thing? It doesn't make sense. The law is about decentralization. It is not about private ownership. The law does not divest the ownership and authority from the government and people of Liberia. It's only saying, let the port of Harbour run, the port of Harbour, let Maryland run, the port of Maryland, so that they can be able to develop and create employment in Maryland. If a ship deck in Maryland, it is how to pay $20 for decking. That $20 will come in the government consolidated account. And then the port authority law will determine how much will remain in Maryland to run the port. And if one ship reaches to Maryland, then it's supposed to take up 10 containers or 5 containers, and in each of the containers there are plenty of cartons. And you need people to take up each carton for $5 a day. The people in Maryland who ain't looking for job can be employed rather than Moria, deciding who will go take carton for ship. In Maryland, in Sando, in Grandmother. Just like that. And if it's going to bring fair competition. In our country,
sorry, why the particular country does not have the expertise?
No, because we have not taken the risk. That is why we don't develop as a country. All these countries around us that you see growing and we admire, they took risk. In Liberia, if you open your land, even people who don't agree with some of us, they will tell you the law or the idea group is not timely. In Liberia, nothing is timely. That is why nothing is achieved. So you got to start it. And it's going to take courage. And only the courage can only be accompanied by vision. Now, the port autonomy law is now about the port of Buchanan. I can understand why Monrovia is running with this port law, especially targeting Buchanan. Because among the 3 other ports, including Buchanan port is the most vibrant. It's in fact helping Monrovia to run. But Monrovia is not helping the port to develop and Buchanan to develop. And so how the other ports will run? The other ports been operating like this for almost 70 years. Try something new. And we got 1.5 years, we're making provision for 1.5 years for transition. If you go to other countries where they got plenty of seaports in one country, in different states or counties, they give us some independence, they give decentralization, help to develop those places. We will ensure, we will push this, we will push this. In fact, it is in line with the president's decentralization vision. The legislature under this presidency, we have vision. We have how you call it? And we have repealed the act creating the Ministry of Internal Affairs. In the next few weeks or a month or so, there will be no more Ministry of Internal Affairs. It will be the Ministry of Local Government. So that we can decentralize power and authority in the various counties so that it can bring development and growth to the people. Power cannot continue to be centralized in Moldova. It does not mean that it is a violation of the Constitution. You can decentralize authority without having a federal form of government that people will be agreeing. And more besides, people need to understand, and we appeal to you guys in the media, to understand that anything the legislature creates and give it power, the legislature can take that power. The legislature can amend the power. Who created the port? Why created the ports of Liberia?
No, we have the right to question.
No, you have the right. And that's what I'm answering. Anything the legislature creates, it can amend. The Supreme Court has ruled several times. On Article 89 of the Constitution, the authority to create agencies of government, dissolve them at any time, assign power to them, take that power and put it in different entities. It is an authority assigned to the legislature.
What does the current put condition affect?
The court has been like that for almost 70 years. Nothing new has happened. It's just the same. We want to try something new. And we take the risk as a country. This government will do it. This is going to be a legacy reform that this country is going to benefit from. If we conclude this and we do it the proper way, it's going to help the decongestion of Monrovia. People will go home. There will be jobs available. And at least opportunity for people to go home to reside in the country, or you don't need to be a Tanzanian to go to Ghana to reside. You are Liberian, and there's a job at the port of Buchanan, at the port of Sano, at the port of Harper. You can relocate. When Lanco, there are people who migrated from the country to go live in Burma. They're not all the people in Burma were born, our people were born, people. People came to Buchanan in the 60s and 70s, migrated to go work for Lanco. And they stay in Buchanan and grandmother begin their home, even though that's why they call integration, migration, and unity of purpose. And this thing is going to provide jobs, more jobs. Because when each of the ports are independent, they will take independent decisions. They can enter into different contracts, and those contracts will have to be approved. And nobody wants a port. She's looking for a 2029. So the law doesn't say nobody will own Basel port. Yeah? And Dillon will go join to go sell the port. The port is a national asset. In order for any contract to be consummated, it has to be approved by the executive. And if it reaches the level for ratification by the Senate and the legislature, it will be. the law does not say if the law passes, a President Waka appoints people that are going to be there for lifetime. Instead of president of Liberia shall appoint board manager and other ranking people, it would be any president. A president Waka, for instance, he don't want to appoint the new people. A Darius must tell the president he don't want to appoint the people. So this small children talk about all the dignity and the other side and this and that. At our level, on the national scene, and as policy maker, so now you hear these things and they sound very entertaining. But again, we have to be explaining these things, at least for the other people who are uninformed and being misinformed by these propagandists, so that they can hear the other side too. Not because we want to respond to the propagandists, but it's fair for the other people to know what the thing actually is.
If you comments,
yeah, before you, while you move to the comment, there's a comment from Prince Daniel that what do you make of the Minister of Justice, Justice's response to the simple autonomy bill?
Where's the response?
You have not seen the response. Okay, let me check. You can recommend what I check.
All right, and this one says,
so why you finding that response? No, people hate change. And that is any no, to change the thing. Let me repeat the thing I just said. We used to do the wrong things in the country the wrong way.
So to change that.
Until to do the right thing in that way, it can look abnormal. It can look like you trying to do the right thing. Either you know what you're doing, or you can look closer to the people who used to do the wrong thing. And all of us, particularly in our category as a country, with our mindset, our attitude. And say for instance, when you are later growing up in your metro later, have you heard government officials saying, "I'm wrong, I'm sorry"?
It's very rare.
So it's very rare. So you get courage to do it, you can look abnormal. You can look abnormal to people. And you understand? It takes courage for a public official to say, the thing I did is not right, it's wrong. Yes, the country used to it. So it will take courage to sustain. You know what kind of courage it took to get the Senate and the leadership of the Senate, but thanks to the leadership of our chair at the time, for us to finally come around and say we'll vote, we'll put ourselves on the record, we'll vote on the record. Say 1847, I don't know what else. We have had that. I will be wrong. But in our modern dispensation, since 2006, we elected or on our modern dispensation, the legislature has not voted on the record where people can be accountable by their action or inaction. It took courage to do that. It took constructive disruption to achieve that. And finally today, we get achieved. So, you can understand what people fighting the kind of reform because we're used to it. And so, while we can be crazy for change, but then we don't want to change. That's the difference. We can crave for change, therefore we don't want to change.
All right, Charles B. Yates is watching. Africano Kiajwe is watching from Shida Club Fish Market Community. Mohammed Dudu Kemokai Jr. Good morning. I'm following from a Bartlesville Estate, Palm Hill Community. Amadou Continue Yalou. Good morning, Pride FM. I'm watching you from Queensville Red Light. Manjavani Krumah writes, good morning, Kelvin. And your co-host, I am Manjavani Krumah, National Chairman of the Green Revolution Liberia. I'm following from my residence on Front Street, Monrovia. Wiama Weno. I'm watching this early morning at 7:37 a.m. from Michigan, the USA. Morrissey Gilmore. Kelvin, please inform your senator that I have a bill that will promote our national agenda. And I'd like to reach him and present it to him. Therefore, please give him my WhatsApp number. Let's talk.
Sure.
Famba Okay, yeah. I'm watching live from a Jenny, Liberia town, Krumah Clan, Tewa District, Rankin County. And then Manjavani Krumah Rice Kelvin. The HPX money needs to be back because The framework agreement was never fully executed, ratified, or converted into a binding concession or access agreement. Brabi and Bar. Okay, so we can stop it at Manja. We'll get back to the latter ones. You want to say something about what Manja talked about? Then we move on.
What did he say?
He said, the HPX money needs to be back because the framework agreement was never fully executed, ratified, or converted into a binding concession or access agreement.
It makes no sense. For government continuity, the government of Liberia took the poor money, legitimate, they take the money by passing it into law through the budget. We had issue with that, but we did not succeed because we were not in majority at the time. And when we say government continuity, sometimes you inherit the legacy. You know, when you buy a property or a company, or you under the law, they say you buy, you inherit the asset and the liability. So if a company was existing and you purchased it and took over, if the company was owing employees, that's a new company. Because you buy the liability, you inherit the liability and the assets as well. This government, the rescue government, by President Joseph Nima Bwaka and by President Jeremiah Panko, we inherited continuity. Now, the previous government officials used the money for the internal purpose. It's an investigation we can push. So no longer they took the people money, legitimate access to the budget, and where it was used for the internal purpose. It is upon this government. It will believe that the money was not used for the appropriate purpose. We have the right as a government to investigate it and hold people accountable.
Brabi M. Bar writes, Kelvin and Senator Dillon are following live from Abushwa Island. Please ask the Senator, as Guinea has invested billions in building for rail lines, will Avambu still honor the agreement in using our lines in Buchanan? I think he spoke about that. Fumba okay, yeah. I'm not going to read the comments because when you say somebody is not saying the truth, you must be able to say what the truth is. It's almost like I just call on the radio and say that initially the thing you're talking is not correct. So what is correct?
But I'm reading so I can know which truth.
No, but they just said the senator is not saying the truth.
Yeah, okay.
So you can lie too much. So what is the truth now? Okay, engineer Patrick. Engineer Patrick T. Now, good morning, Senator. As a student of the extractive sector, I'd like to know if the legislature should be sought the medical advisor from experts before making the decision concerning our natural resources. Emmett A.S. Tapper, I'm just following Kelvin, the LRB again. Please, Daniel, Kelvin Deming, can you please ask the Senator about the Justice Minister view? Let's forget about Henry Costa. No, the other choice of words, I'm not going to do that. Is the Justice Minister? No, I'm not going to do that. We can respectfully disagree.
Let's go back to our talking points. I was trying to find this.
You're trying to find it.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
So, you know what? I have that question. Many years, yes. What people are going with is the president's initial action to
veto the bill.
The president did not veto the bill.
Okay. What did he do?
Thank you. The president vetoed lines in the bill,
not the whole bill.
When you say the president vetoed the bill, it means the president disagree with the entire bill. Okay. And every time one answers me, because you have a responsibility to help our public. Okay. Yeah, and you're looking for cash. Yeah, the one for the president did not veto the bill. The president vetoed lines in the bill. And the president's letter was clear. A 6 to 7 page letter. What detail? This good law, this decentralization, it is part of my arrest and general vision to decentralize, development and other things in the country. So decentralization is part of my agenda. I'm putting the president level. However, they bill to decentralize reports. I have some issue with their count. will then come and then come. What did the president say in conclusion? In a letter, if you have it, you could read it. The president said, having in view of the foregoing, I'm sending this bill back, vetoing these lands, and asking the legislature to reconsider this land of my concern and send it back for my approval. That's what the president letter said. So in Article 2 of the Constitution, it says the Constitution of Liberia shall be the organic law of Liberia. And who has authority to declare any law that is in conflict with the Constitution? And the Supreme Court, but that Article 2 says the Supreme Court shall declare inconsistent to the extent of the inconsistency in a law. So that means the Supreme Court can look at a whole law and say this portion is inconsistent with the Constitution, so we're declaring it for it. It doesn't mean that the entire law. So the poor bill have sessions. The president having issue with one or two sessions. That does not mean he have issue with all of the sessions. That is why he did not veto the bill. He did line veto. In the Constitution, if you look at Article 35 of the Constitution, the president can do line veto or he can veto the entire law. Now, the line veto was done on the advice of the Attorney General's opinion. That was between September or last year. In November, December, between there, we clean up the bill, we look at the president's consent number. So we did not override the president's veto. And when you listen to the application, when the president vetoed after the whole bill or land act, the legislature can override with 2/10 membership of both houses. That means the thing the president vetoed, the legislature said no. We still want it. The overriding of the veto. But the president said, you look at my consent and reconsider and see whether you can reconsider for my approval. That's what the president letter said. We went and reconsidered the president's concern and removed all of those things that the president was concerned about because in our wisdom, the president made sense. So then we subsequently sent the bill back to the president for approval. Concurred with by both houses. And by the time the bill gets to the president, they start running with the Attorney General's own opinion and the president. You show me maybe a new opinion, maybe I'll have it.
So it's an old opinion, you're right. And in reference to 35, let me just read this sentence.
Yeah.
It says, in so doing, the president may disapprove of the entire bill or resolution or any item or items thereof.
Correct.
So what the president did was just line
the president did line veto. Say the other section, maybe the other function will conflict with the other, the maritime function. You reconsider it. If the legislature feels strongly, because it is a legislative action that assigns the authority to maritime. The Maritime Act is a creation. It's an act of the legislature. The legislature took transportation function for all the Ministry of Commerce, Transport and Industry and created the Ministry of Transport. Why did they have it? Because the legislature has the authority. The legislature just passed an act which was submitted by President Weah, sponsored by Darius Dillon on the floor, even though I was opposition in his government, to bring autonomy to the Corrections Bureau, to take it from one Ministry of Justice, to give it autonomy. Because it is the legislature that put that Corrections Bureau authority on the Justice Minister through the act creating the Justice Ministry. It is the legislature that gave power. It is the legislature that can take the power. So, but in the wisdom of the legislature, the president makes sense. So, let's address the president's concern rather than overriding it. We address the president's concern. The two houses review and pass it, concurred for the second time, and send it to the president. And by the time a letter the president does, the proper guidance grab the Attorney General opinion and provision of the old law and say they do nothing, and then they define the president. And people expect national leaders like us to be in the public take
Clarifying.
and take for tat on fanatic propaganda. We're not going to do that. We're looking forward to the president's action, and we believe, hopefully, it will be favorable.
Okay, we have exactly 10 minutes. We're going to pick up course in about, that's 9 minutes quickly. Can you talk about this, this Ministry of Internal Affairs thing to have it changed to a local government? Or what is the conversation about that?
Come again, the Local Government
Act. Can you elaborate more on that?
So, the Local Government Act is to conform to the decentralization of development in the various counties, to give more power back to the people, to the local governments. And that is why it was wise enough to, that we have the Local Government Act of 2018. That Local Government Act even changed the name of assistant superintendents, the title. You don't have no more assistant superintendents across the country. You have county officer for development, county officer for finance, and what have you. Those were functions assigned to the title assistant ministers. And then you put power in the people to the county council. To the county council, so that development can stay with the people. And the people can decide what they want. And like people going to campaign, you go to campaign in a community, you ask the people what they want. You tell them what you will do for them. So sometimes that one when you're telling the people what you do for them, sometimes you can see them clapping, because the thing you're telling them that you do for them, now what they want. You go in a community that the poor having plenty of income. And you say, well, yeah, maybe love the Lord, you get to the poor clapping. So you need you need to ask the people what you want me to do to represent you when you put me in.
What are the pressing issues?
So, what are the pressing issues in your community? You understand? So, the Local Government Act is a visionary act passed in 2018 that will give power back to the people, the local communities, so they can determine what their needs are, so that national government can fund it through the national budget by means of county development fund and this and that. When you have the Local Government Act giving power back to the people, then you want to do the ministry to conform to that act. So on President Walker's vision, part of his vision on the arrest agenda, he submitted the bill and the legislature passed it to dissolve the Ministry of Internal Affairs to not make it government and the Ministry of Local Government. So all appointed officials at the current Ministry of Internal Affairs, upon its dissolution in the next few days, a week, everybody will be deemed either resign or other job. It will be left for the president in keeping with the new Local Government Act, Local Ministry Act, to either re-nominate people or send some people in line with his own wisdom.
Wow. Yeah. All right. Okay, this is the Primary Drive on Prime FM 105.5. Shortly we'll go to the land. Maybe two issues because
two issues. We got 5 minutes to go to the land.
Okay. Yes. So two issues quickly. One, the very important issue in the rescue government, and then two, yesterday was the 7th cycle graduation of the Center for Rehabilitation and Re-education. Your critics think that you've tied the project around your re-election. I mean, if you're not re-elected in 2029, the longevity of the center, I mean...
Let me treat that last name, and then the first one.
Okay, so the different about the resolution.
Why not?
That's the one about the both of you together now. So the last is the best.
No.
I'm doing it for the convenience of your bound.
No.
I just talked to the, I appreciated the war on drugs from going to that. Confess to me, right? And why? Don't forget about it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I like that. Well, listen. So we have to use common sense, especially as the government, so we can clearly define what is brand border issue. Okay. Or else brand border issue is going to be a cliche that will sound like nothing happening because some opposition will soon make our people believe their border issue means the beer bread with a flour and the migratory border. So you see, that's why I always say I like to communicate rather than talking at the people. Because when you communicate with the people, you can understand the message. I like to have conversation. So bread border issue suggests that people can afford to send their children to school, to go to the market, to own a house, to live a decent life, so that they don't be begging. Simple, right? And the government take action so that your purchasing power is improved, increased, and the thing you are spending on, government take action so that you don't spend on that thing, you spend on different things, right? So what is bread and butter issue? Bread and butter issue is when the government does almost everything to make electricity not only stable, better than what it used to be, but expand it across the country. Then you're not buying generator plus fuel. The other money to buy generator, repair the generator, and buy fuel every day because LEC is not stable. You're saving additional funding to fund other things, other needs that bread and butter issue. When you bring in HPX, when you bring in investment companies to give our people jobs so they can be able to afford to be able to live decent lives, that bread and butter issue. When you make restaurant stable and even reduce it, so that additional money you to buy a restaurant, you can use it to do different things, other things, that's bread and butter issue. When you enter into more road contracts, where you get more road people doing roads and involved, and they are on the road doing the roads, and they're working to earn money, that bread and butter issue. But if we take that way, say that the opposition will make in the people here that bread and butter issue mean that food at bread and mayonnaise, or the fatty bread, and mayonnaise, or the short bread and margarine butter. No, that is. It means the government taking action. Are we there yet? No. In fact, are we close to being there yet? I would think no. Are we making strides to get there? You can see it. Let me say, even when we're young, even as we're adults, when we're young, children, you know you providing anything to the whole, you come to school, you're hungry, you learn in the kitchen, you don't tell no food and you fell with a man. In fact, it can be fair, but even though you're not providing food money, right? You don't get on the table, no food. Then you go in the kitchen, you go back and leave. Then you part time on that. Nothing ain't good of that. Even we, the men or people who are responsible for home, when you go home hungry, when you reach no food on the table, you're hungry. In fact, again, make you so uncomfortable and hungry. You know in the kitchen, when the pot boiling, and your mom said the rest keeping, even though you're hungry, but you can calm your hunger because you know chew will come slow. Now, why am I saying this? I'm saying this to say, when no food on the table, the fire not catching, then work by the cold work, then you know nothing coming down. Again, now lots of hope. Because you waiting for that kind of thing, you wasting time, you not the irritations. But if you go home, no food on the table, you're hungry, when you see that the food almost done, and you calm your hunger, it means something is being done. We are not there yet with the kind of level and number of jobs we want to give our people, for our people to have in the private sector. But are we taking deliberate action? And are there signs to show proof? When you are entering into this agreement, this whole contract, the HPX or even whole deal, different, you're doing total oil exploration deal. The exploration period is going to create jobs for Liberia, more jobs. And all that thing, it means food may not be on the table now, but they come in this year.
Let's go to the drug and then go to the lives. I mean, the lifespan, the longevity of the Center for Rehabilitation and Recuperation. Yesterday was a 7th cycle. I mean, beautiful girls, Kevin,
the program that is so cherished. Go ahead.
Look, one of the reasons I don't normally talk about the rehab until there's graduation or until we have people in there is because it is not something political for me. In 2019, when I became senator, I made a conscious, passionate decision to ask people to join me so we can do something in the fight against drought. And to be happy to tell people so that national government can see that it's possible. So that we can do it on a whole national larger scale. So we enter into 10 years lease agreement for the property. We have to do that property almost over. People say, oh, why 10 years? Because we're in 2029. So last year, we extended the lease code by another 10 years. So it's going up to 2039. In between that time, we're looking forward to practically owning our own place. That means that rehab center does not have political lifespan. It has almost everlasting lifespan, whether I'm senator or not. Since we opened that place, we have reformed over 200 of our citizens. Muslims, Christians, no God, Liberian, human being. Partisan, no partisan, male, female, from Bon Country, from Magidi, from Grand Bassa, largely from Montreal. I don't intend to run for political office in Bon Country. I don't intend to run for political office in Magidi. I don't intend to run for political office in Grand Bassa County.
It's been rumored that you will Bassa.
Yeah, you still the rumored that from 2024, but what I'm saying is, but we have recovered Liberian citizens for these various countries. It is not political. My salary, I put it here. You were there. I deliberately call on the staff. We have 5 security. I see their service in our center as service to humanity. But they're getting honorarium every month. We got kitchen staff about 4. They are providing services to humanity to cook for people who are being recovered from drugs 3 times a day. But they're getting honorarium monthly. We have executive director, we have clinicians, we have psychiatrists, we have administrative staff, we have nurses, we run a small clinic. They are getting honorarium. At least something that they can rely on as it is to take back home to help take care of their families too. Then we feed in our clients in there 3 times a day. We shelter them free. The last book I read yesterday was there from July. 24-hour current. When LEC goes, the generator is on. So we don't have time for expenses that we go through over there. What Darius didn't do when he started from Montreal. That one survey has created honorary living for 18 staff at that place and have recovered from drug abuse and from drug addiction and substance abuse. Over 200 of our citizens. One of them is in America today. The grandmother called Uncle to tell us thank you. She raising funding to help the center. We have one of our graduates whose parents took him, not her, to Nigeria. And the kid is practicing with the Nigeria honor for the national team. At least on the photo they sent us. We have one of our graduates who is now a consultant at the Ministry of Education. We have several of our graduates. In fact, the last graduation, one of the boys came from Magidi to say that when he was coming for the graduation because he graduated 4 cycles ago with the nails. When he was coming for the second batch of girls graduation, he came to get a testimony that I'm an electrical technician, electronics technician.
Wow.
I run my own shop while I'm coming and then instructing all my employees what to do.
Wow.
And when we put out a video, they are residents of Kakata, where he resides. They were testifying on the video that Senator Dillon, thank you for this. We know him and thank you for his reform. He doesn't want to own a business center and he's employing people because he's reformed. We can go on naming the success story of that.
What about Darius?
Well, I'm coming. And what is interesting, the place is not called the Darius Dillon Center. It is a center for rehabilitation and reintegration. Nobody pays registration fee for all the people to the bank. Nobody pays staying fee, shelter, and no lodging fee. Nobody. When you're in there and you're sick, and the little you have there cannot keep up to your medical needs, and your parents can't afford, the center, we transfer our patients to medical facilities, and we keep up to their medical needs. There are two girls who have got children. They were pregnant before they took her in there. One of the girls, the children, the boy, is being taken care of by members of the board of the center, giving him life. But you don't see me every day talking about it. No, because it is not political. I want to use my voice because I have a larger platform being a senator. So more people will hear me. And it is because of the kind of care we do there, the Bowen Foundation, taking advantage of the grant of 20 million given by the Melina Gates. She contributed to $10,000 US dollars to the Bowen Foundation. She contributed $10,000 for us to cater to more grants. The board we met, we said we must show something concrete that can take more than 15 additional people in the compound. We have 12 laptops to impart computer and IT skills training into our people. We have five sewing machines, and Senator Jonathan Boycha said we made good on a pledge to add additional 5 sewing machines so they can learn tailoring, balls and grass in there. So you leave it from there, with some skills. So, Chief, that rehab center is not a money making thing for me. The $3,000 that I've sort of committed to most every time, I'm putting it in there. 18 persons employed. Every 6 months, we get people in there, we cater to them, and it is good for my soul. Because as imperfect as I am, the gospel music that says, if I can help somebody as I pass this way, my living will not be easy.
Thank you. His name is Senator Abraham Darius Dillon. We go to the lines to hear from our callers. Kelvin Demi, Danicius Mate, and we have Jala TV, who's an argument fortified. City TV, Senator Dillon's page, and I all carry this program live. Also on Prime FM page, and that's Prime FM on Rovio 105.5. The numbers are 777-40-40-10, 777-40-40-10, or 0778 460793, 0778-460793, or 0886-050507, 0886-050507. Because of time, we take 6 calls, and you have to be straight to the point because of time. Let's hear from our first caller on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, Doctor.
Yes, not more than a minute, please. Quickly, go ahead, my brother.
Let me appreciate the hard working senator. We did not make the state we need more of Dillon in our house. I want to encourage the fully so that all the senators can work together and they will have it. Our parents are talking.
Thank you. Let's hear from caller number 2. No time. Good morning. I swear to exceed 1 million, I call it off.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. You're live. I'm at Pabai. Is it Black Shama?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Go ahead, big brother.
The Shama.
Yeah, sure. So,
Good morning.
yeah, I'm going to use my one thing wisely. First, happy New Year to you. I'm happy to hear you on radio. That's why all the time people our finest luminary when it comes to our Constitution and our law. They always want to be like always. I also mind most of the time people back out give them a Christian. You know, you got to say what has been done. And then they say, come on, after the current world progression, the corruption is everything. I can write everything.
Thank you, Black Shama. It's a big brother in the media quickly. And now, listen, if you call, you are live. And so if you're having a conversation in the background, we'll cut you off because it goes into the microphone. Let's hear from that caller quickly.
1 minute.
So just hold on, sir.
Good morning, Kevin. And good morning to our dynamic senator in studio. So, thank you for all that you do for your people in the country. And one thing I want to say concerning the rumors on the party centralization stuff is that people should get distracted and just be focused. On my case, I thought it has to do with when MyLiberianPeople went for confirmation hearing, he spoke to the liberation and said he will represent the 3 branches of government. But that much can be seen from the lower and upper house on most of the platform, especially when the media is abroad, because of the politics of the camp. So we hope and pray that this year around, that some of these women will not be in the public, and the only area of public affair is coordinating with the Ministry of Information.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Let's hear from this overseer. He calls in from Belgium. Good morning. And we'll take the last 2 quickly. Good morning.
Good morning, Kevin, and good morning to Senator Dillon. I don't know whether you still can remember the name Melvin the Sheep.
Melvin the Sheep. Go ahead.
What am I reading?
I was one of those
Melvin the Sheep.
spend money.
Yeah, the senator is asking you. Go on.
No, let it go.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, the Sheep.
Yeah, I have a receipt of $400 that I spent to put zinc in that particular building.
Which building?
I really don't know, sir, that thing went on. I believe that the senator turned it political. Because if he had not turned it political, the calls that have been sent to him know that I was a donor on that particular project.
Which
that I had international contact
building?
for the Sokos. The Sokos building, that particular building that the Sokos are in right now.
Okay.
When it's campaign time,
No, let me ask you.
Okay, yeah, hold on. The senator wants to ask you. Hold on. The senator wants to ask you. Yeah, go ahead.
Melvin,
yeah.
let me admit I know you, but we haven't met before. I know you supported my campaign. We get our $400 for a real center. Let's talk about the radio.
Okay, they were marking correct, and I have received it in Senator. I'll never lie on my.
No, I'm not saying you lying.
Yeah, he's not asking. He wants to be sure.
I know the shit. Okay, I think, hello.
Yeah, calm down now. Yeah, he's just making a way. Just give him chance. You should give him chance. Oh.
So, a Buddha Martin Cola, not Martin Cola, so you people get confused. I will add Martin Cola about the $400. And you say you got it received, you still got my number, send it to me. I want to thank you for contributing $400, but you should also tell the people you turn the other way. I'm going politically. You made a reaction of political when I decided to support Joseph Waka while you are supporting communists.
Okay.
And the communist people, they always attacking me. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You can also send that receipt. You can also send that receipt. Let's take this caller, then we'll take the last one. Good morning. You've been on the line for long. Good morning. Go ahead.
Kevin, I want to thank you. And I want to thank my revolutionary and visionary senator.
And you have to do that in 1 minute, Puni, because we're out of time.
The allegations and accusations that the Senate leadership, U.S. and Kanga, how French Dillon is sponsoring, want to take in charge of the port, and then the president veto all of your character. The character is sufficient this morning. But Senator, I'd like to ask you this. Your friend and brother was very clear on the radio that you call him repeatedly. When you call him, now on the radio on the forecast, that you call him over 3 times.
Who is friend and brother now? Because there were a lot of podcasts. Okay.
The Senator is on a public radio to make some things clear. That you call him repeatedly. I don't know you want to sit down quietly with him, but you vehemently refuse all of your calls. What is the current relationship? And I just want to thank you for the clarity.
Okay.
Insight for the bill, and you can probably have an understanding that.
Thank you, Puni. Thank you, Puni. Thank you. Let's take the last one. We call it a day right here. Good morning. Yeah, 30 seconds, please. No time. Go ahead, Isaac.
Let me say good morning to the senator. So, Senator, I'm so grateful to hear you this morning, this morning. And let me say this, Senator, there are so many people who don't understand that why you guys are passing through the EPA was of Senate. Some of us who know why they're passing through because they are the most, they are the serious occupation. When I went to that building, when I entered your office, I saw how jammed the office there. You know what those senators in that building?
Yes,
for assistance to you. And so I want to salute you this morning with your calm behavior with you, with the other officers with you. So it's so good to be calm today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my brother. Your last caller. We're not taking any more calls. We have to go, Senator. You have some concerns.
Yeah, I want to thank you. And let me say thanks to all of the callers and those who listen, try to call us tonight. So, look, at this point, we can be holding. I always say opposition got talking points. We know the government will have a checklist of things to achieve. Every time you look in your checklist and you check something to do and you do it, you reduce the talking point of the opposition. Opposition then you say LEC gone. Government business is official LEC gone. You know what I'm saying? So you can do one on one with opposition. I was in opposition before, so I know all that things. Your lead Costa. God knows how to pay people. It's just simple. Costa that accused everybody for himself. Everybody told we joined, we accused, he came to the podcast. But I still living. John, no, you need my brother. That my little brother. And he the one made me senator. I gave God the glory. And Mami Ama won't he made me senator. He only made Joseph Waka president until he screwed up. He gave God the glory. When he screwed himself, we don't want to make sure we fought for him to be reconciled with the president. And then the people who fought for him. No, just because you come on. And for some podcast, he said, Dillon, they're calling me. Okay. The crowd, they think you're calling me from the kind of what I did. I'm even to do.
Are you talking now?
No, so that it's good to speak. I may not be one of the best thing that people like. But people know my mouth is not for hire. Okay. People know my mouth is not for hire. The elevated respect for me in this country, I'm not going to diminish it at my brother's level. And he didn't want to do the podcast, you can see the comment on it. You know, when you want to anger what you do, you can't take care of it. You need to tell you not to go off. Character damage is bad. I got to go to session.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. On that note, this is how I'd like to conclude this edition of the program, The Prime Morning Drive.